World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Good afternoon. This is Tony Rogers, your host for Urbanology, The Art of War. And for many of you, I always like to let the new viewers know about the title. The Art of War is based on my name, which is William Anthony Rogers, but most of my associates and friends call me Tony. A lot of people asked about that. And of course, many of you who read some of my material, whether it's my books or in my weekly column in the Harlem Community News, you know that I was a tremendous, still I study as a student of Sun Tzu, who developed centuries ago a book of strategy that is still used called The Art of War. So it's kind of play on words. But I hope all is well with you. We are close, moving right into summer. This is June. June 19th is right around the corner. Many of you may know June 19th is also my birthday. I'm happy that now my birthday is a holiday, so it's easy for me to remember. Sometimes I don't even remember birthday dates, even mine. Nevertheless, as you also may know, that we being the Harlem Tourism Board, has been working on an international project dealing with bringing African and Caribbean Americans home to Africa. We have a trip to Senegal again. We've gone there a couple of times in 2023. We have another one scheduled for October. And if you go to goharlem.org, you can get the information about that. Richard Cox, the vice president of HTB, just returned from Ghana, and you can read about that also in the goharlem.org event. Today, I have the pleasure and honor to talk to a representative of Mali, and we are beginning to talk to him and his colleagues to start a partnership, an HTB partnership, traveling to Mali. And Mali, if you are not aware of it, has very interesting history, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I'd like to bring on at this point a person who I have just recently met, but a person who is a very interesting gentleman. Um, and uh, his name is Adama uh, Sidibe, but he likes to be called, like people call me Tony as a nickname. He likes Diamas. So, how are you doing, Mr. Sabali?
Yes, I am doing very fine. Thanks for the introduction. Adama is just the American pronunciation, by the way.
Uh huh.
In my country, it's a little constant. We don't have a lot of fluctuation. They call it Adama.
Adama.
Uh-huh. But Adama and Adama, that's the American pronunciation.
Uh huh.
So basically, Damas, I got fancy, I put the apostrophe there, but it actually comes from Nostradamus. There is no need for the apostrophe.
Oh, Nostradamus. Okay, that's interesting that you
And
would select Nostradamus.
and I'm happy to know that you're a Gemini brother as well. Mine is the 16.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's why you dress so well.
Thank you.
Gemini is.
I like to brag about the fact that I have the same birthday as Tupac, which will be celebrated for as long as I can think of.
Yes, yes. There are a number of
I'm happy and
Geminis.
honored to be. I'm really honored and happy to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. I appreciate it very much.
Well, Adamus, how uh, how have you been able to uh, develop such a successful business in America coming from Mali?
How?
What's what's your formula?
My formula is to never give up. So that's the formula of most people that make it. I am nowhere near where I want to be because I'm an internal pilgrim. I don't ever stop learning. I don't ever stop applying my knowledge. I don't ever stop trying to achieve, uh, you know, um, greatness.
Hmm.
So the one main formula is that I got this from my mother. You always have to believe in yourself before other believe in you.
That's true.
Always have to believe in yourself before other people believe in you. Many things, even coming to America alone, many people didn't believe that I could come.
Hmm.
I believed in myself, and it surprised a lot of people, but it didn't surprise me. It surprised even a lot of people that believed in me as a young person, that believed in me in general, that just didn't want to crush my dreams, but they didn't believe me as much until they really saw it happen. So believe in yourself and keep striving. I don't believe in. One of my mentors used the word opposite of positive. It doesn't even say the word negative.
Hmm.
That's to say that whatever you say or even think of, you may attract. Because as I've
That's
been
right.
taught, the universe
Thought,
doesn't know good or bad. It just knows what you attract, what you ask for it.
thought
I try to be
manifestation.
as positive as I can, although it's very tough. Sometimes when you are down and out, and times is hard, it's hard to be positive at times. I must admit, but I try to be as positive as I can, and I don't stay mad for more than 2 minutes.
Well, that keeps you healthy. Anger
Yes,
brings on issues within the
my
body that could be
my
destructive.
fights don't go further. I mean, I will do business with people even if you don't like me, even if I don't like you, because it's not, it's I don't have to,
Nothing
go
personal.
home with you. It's just business. I can put business and emotions aside real quick. That's
Now,
one part.
now, people I'm sure are admiring your hat and you have a clothing line. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I have a clothing line called Masaya. Masaya means royalty. Before I used to call it, la royauté, to be fancy. Everything, French, everything European.
Hmm.
So I used to call it la royauté because French used to be the official language in my country. I learned in French.
Hmm.
But now I call it Mansaya because that's the language, that's the Mandinga language. That's the Mandinga Bambara language from where I'm from. Instead of trying to be fancy, let me just be original.
Hmm.
So basically, since I was a kid, my mother would always dress me nice, to the point where people would come from like the neighborhood and take me to their house because I look nice. And I give credit to my mother. And growing up, I just like to dress nice and different. So regardless of what the price may be, so long as it looks different from the other guy, I'm fine. So I ended up looking around for clothes that I won without finding them in the market. I started designing them on my own. And before I started designing them, I would take clothes of other people and alter them, which I didn't find so original. Then I started designing my own clothes and I put the logo Mansaya on it, which means royalty.
Mm.
Yes, because
Now, did you have any training in doing that, or is this a self-taught?
I'm an artist by nature.
Hmm.
Since elementary school, I used to draw. I used to make my lunch money by drawing for people. Back home, the maps of Africa, the maps of Europe and America that you learn in school, we had somebody who knew how to draw very nice, who would draw it in the board, and everybody has to sit down and draw it in the book, so you can remember it. I used to do those drawing for a lot of people as well and get paid for it. I'm always so I've always been a natural artist.
Hmm.
I taught myself piano. I draw, I paint, I design clothes, I write music. I'm a natural artist. I did not go to school for any of these.
A Renaissance man.
Thank you. That's to be humble. I'm humbled. I call it a blessing to be humbled. Honestly.
It is. It is true.
Mm.
Now, I know that you do a lot of work, somewhat as an ambassador of Mali. How did that come about?
Well, there are. I will share this. I will share a link with you later on, so you can share it with your viewers who are more interested in figuring out where we come from. I was, a part of a project, where we had to film some women in a rural area, a lot of which women are sick of whatever disease it may be, or HIV/AIDS, and they worked in this facility for 7 days a week, and were getting paid less than $2 a day.
Mm,
If you sleep, you work, you eat for 7 days in any place, you almost work in 7 days a week.
mm,
It's your workplace. So basically, it really, hurt me to know that these women work so hard. They work so hard, and they get paid less than a cup of, Starbucks coffee. And when those shea butters are sent to America or to Americas or to Europe or to Asia to be refined and brought back to Africa, they can even, afford the products themselves. And a lot of them are affected by sicknesses and diseases that don't even exist in America any longer. And they need help. They need help. They need help. So, the company that actually put me on the project is called Wasakarite by Madame Jakite Mariam Kone.
mm.
She's the founder and the president of the company. So basically, I'm the director of communication and marketing for a company. And through her company, I was able to have this ambassadorship at the United Nations where I am free to go meet anybody at the United Nations and look for partners, look for people who are willing to help and who are able to help by advice, by whichever means possible it is. It doesn't have to be just money or a gift or whatever. However, they can possibly help us, because if mothers are being taken care of, free of certain sicknesses and diseases that don't even exist in the West any longer, the youth, humanity in general flourishes, because mothers are the
Foundation.
foundation of it all. And a lot of them are affected by AIDS twice or three times as much as men because of the polygamy, unfortunately. So yes, so
So,
basically,
tell us a little bit about Mali, some of the history.
well, some of the history about Mali is very deep as far as history. It's one of the most one of the most important. If you tell Americans far away, if you tell them Americans I'm from Timbuktu, if I tell them I'm from Mali, they don't know Mali. Most people don't know Mali. But if I tell them Timbuktu, they're like, oh, Timbuktu. Because Timbuktu is just one of Mali's 8 regions. Timbuktu is not, the whole country. It's like when you take America and you divide them by the 50 states. Timbuktu is just one of the 8 regions. So
They're very
basically,
famous as a
very,
place.
very, very famous. There is a lot of history in Mali, a lot of history in Timbuktu. And Timbuktu, the first ancient university before Egypt, Greece, and all of that, the first ancient university known to man, to my knowledge, was in Timbuktu. There is a lot of history there. The Manding Empire, the Songwe Empire, the Empire of Ghana, all touches Mali somehow. All of them. Before the colonialists came and divided the place and give them a name of their own. Even at some point, Senegal and Mali were all one country under the name of French Sudan. They divided them later on. So these things were all divided by the Europeans and whoever else they were dealing with, by their liking and their choosing what they want to divide, where they want to move which border, and what they want to call what. Some of them, Mali was called by Malians because it means Maya. Maya means like humanity. Li means honey. So Mali comes from Maya Li, Mali. The honey of humanity. That's the name of Mali, actually. But it came about when they decided to divide Mali from Senegal when they were under the name of Sudan. Senegal had to choose a name and Mali had to choose a different name. So that's when Mali came about. But before, it's part of Senegal, part of Mauritania, part of all the way to Ivory Coast, part of Ghana. All those areas were under different empires at a certain time. Mali was always the center of it at some point. Some of the kings or the rulers or the emperors at some point came from Mali somehow. But
so Senegal and Mali at one time was under one rulership.
One rulership. One was under one rulership. Yes, it was under one rulership. It was Sudan. It was called French Sudan.
French Sudan.
Yes, it was called French Sudan. It was all one country, but then, it would have been too powerful if you left it at that. Because Mali itself has, I think it's the only country in the world that has 7 borders. If you give a country 7 borders, and with almost two-thirds of the country that sits on Sahara, on desert, on the world's biggest reserve of oil, gas, uranium,
and gold,
and all of that, and if you give them access to the sea too, they become too powerful. So since they decided the fate of the Africans themselves, it became problematic. I'm sorry, I know I'm going to have a lot of enemies after saying this.
Well, it's interesting how the Europeans, the French, the Portuguese, and the British, many of the colonizers actually divided up, which weakened, divide and conquer, which weakened uh, Africa in and of itself. I wasn't aware of the closeness of Senegal and Mali,
Oh yeah,
and and at one point I think you mentioned Ghana was in that same because they're not too far away from each other.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Ivory
you're right.
Coast.
It would probably have been too powerful.
Yeah, Ivory Coast was called by them the coast where you find a lot of ivory. Ghana was used to be called the Gold Coast. They named these names. This is not names named by the given by the natives. So, so basically, these were some of the names are not even like even Niger didn't come from a good name. Niger came from a name in a word that if you call an American a Black American that today, they'll be offended. So the Nigeria, all those names were given to us by them. But before then, a great part of West Africa was under, that central Malian colony. The emperors, the kings, somewhat, somehow, a lot of them came from Mali area, either south, north, either the Tuareg, the Sunni, Albert, what you call it, what's the Askia Mohammed, and either they came from the center, Babemba, Cheba, Sunjata, which is what I was telling you about just now. Keita Sunjata is the grandfather of Abubakar II, who discovered Mali. Astaghfirullah. Who discovered America before Christopher Columbus? Because even Columbus himself said in one of his memoirs that when he came here, he had already found West African golden spears.
Right.
This is not news. So and his son, his I think grandson, or son, I believe, if my history is right, which is Mansa Musa, is known to be the richest man to ever walk on the face of earth.
Yeah,
At
Misa
one
Musa
point,
was
yeah,
extremely wealthy.
at some point during his pilgrimage, he traveled with tons of gold from that Mali area, because it wasn't called Mali, but Mali was the center. So he traveled from that area. The place where he was is in Mali still. So that's why Mali is a big part of history. He traveled from there all the way to east, all the way to Asia, all the way to Mecca area, and everywhere he went, he gave gold like he meant nothing, until he actually undervalued, he devalued the price of gold at that time. No man has ever done what he's done. It didn't leave us nothing though, because I come from the lineage. I actually come from the lineage of his. My mother
Right.
is Kita. Sunjata Keita, Mansa Musa was Keita, Abubakar II was Keita. My mother comes from his lineage. So thus the name of my clothing line, Mansaya, royalty. Because I am royalty. But I don't have no money to show for it though. But I will on my own.
We have to figure out where all of that
I will figure out.
that go with, right? Now, you had also mentioned one of the names that a lot of the slave movies talk about, Mandengo. Talk to us a little bit about the Mandengo.
Mandengo is the American pronunciation, but it's actually Mandeng. Mandeng means, there was a time the Ghanaian Empire, the Songhai Empire, the Empire du Mali, the Mandeng Empire was all within the same, like I said, umbrella, West Africa, before they divided them and give them different names. So the Mandeng is like a tribe. Mandenka, Mandeng. Mandeng is the name of the tribe, the place, the area, the so to say, the physical location.
Right.
Mandenka is the people that come from Mandeng. So Mandenga, in the translation lost into Mandengo. I didn't know Mandengo from back home. That's the American pronunciation of it, which means big giant and built. Because
Right.
when they went there, they took the big tall guys to come to America.
The
because
strongest.
the strongest, yeah, exactly. And because a lot of them were from the Mandengo tribe, in along the time in translation, they were called Mandengo, but it's actually Mandenga tribe. Mandeng Mandeng is the name. Inshallah, if we get the chance to, we'll visit that place. During the trip, we'll visit some, some nice place during the trip. And I'm not gonna give too much away. I'll let you do some of that in the in.
Now, what about? I know that Senegal has beautiful beaches. Are there? Are you close in Mali, especially the capital, close to the water?
No, we are close to, because the Niger River runs through. We have a lot of rivers. We have enough rivers. We have enough rivers to actually even, not even need the seas at some point. But unfortunately, the problem is, if the country is landlocked, certain ships cannot get onto the river.
Right.
And if they can get onto the river, by the time they get close to the city, there is no dock to actually welcome them on the dock because of what's in the sea. It's not meant for that. So that makes the country landlocked. Unfortunately, that makes the country landlocked.
Now, how did the slaves get transported? I know in Senegal, for instance, there's Goree Island because they faced the Americans, and that's the. What was the route that was used based on that for the slave trade?
Yes, the railroad that was built from Mali to Senegal wasn't made for Malian, commerce. It was made to come get whatever they wanted to get from Mali or from Africa and ship them all to the island of Goree, along with the people that they were shipping onto the Atlantic Sea, onto Americas or Europe.
So where a railroad was built,
yeah,
in order to ship
from Guinea, things were coming from Guinea. Guinea already had a port. So the landlocked countries, which were Burkina, Chad, Niger, Mali, the countries that were landlocked within, that didn't have access to the sea, there were being, loaded and shipped, first on the railroad onto Senegal, and from Senegal onto Ile de Gorée and onto Europe and America.
And wow, that's very interesting. Is there still evidence of the railroad?
Oh yeah,
tracks that was used?
Oh yeah.
That's
still
probably
there. Yeah.
Interesting. Just like Goree Island is where they were shipped out, but the tracks. I know even in Ghana they have the routes in the northern region as to where slaves were brought back to the capital.
Oh yeah.
So there's a great deal of history. I know that you are planning a festival. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh yeah. This is the festival called We Are All One. We are all one people, because I am the man who, even sometimes when people call me, where you from? I tell them I'm a child of the universe. I don't discriminate against color, race, ethnicity, gender, or whatever background that you have. You belong in my heart. The people that I associate myself, there is no discrimination. We are all one, and it's a festival. It's gonna be a festival now for the first time, but it started as clothe a kid and feed the kid. Feed a kid. When I used to travel to Mali, I would actually call my friends here in America. There are many witnesses. There are many people that can testify to this. I would actually call many people to get me clothes, shoes, toys, and whatever they have, so that I can actually pay for the shipping myself every single time. Pay for the shipping myself, and then go give it to the poor people. But when I went there, my friends and family and cousins would jack up those shoes and clothes and stuff and say, yo, this is things we look for, we can't even find ourselves. So I stopped, because I was the only one paying for everything. But I wanted to get back to it, because my mother was a giver. God bless her soul. My mother was a giver. She took care of everybody but herself. So I wanted to open an orphanage in her name called One of a Kind. Orphanage One of a Kind, which also it means oak. OAK, and Her initial is also AK, Alamako Kira. Like I said, Sunjata Kira, Mansa Musa Kira, Abubakar the second Kira. She comes from their lineage.
Mm-hmm.
They still didn't give me no gold though. They left me no gold. I come from the richest man who has ever walked on the face of earth. They left me no gold. Matter of fact, I'm wearing some silver, some bootleg stuff I got from 125th. Still no gold.
I do know Mali is the third producer of gold, the third country
in Africa.
So gold is still there. It's just that they're
gold
not
is
giving
still
it to the
there. I need to
Africans,
go
right?
find mine. Maybe we can find some. Hopefully, some of the lands I have, there is some gold underneath. Come buy some lands. You might get lucky. But here is the thing. Mali, I believe Mali is number 3 in gold because the countries that's number 1 and 2 take the gold from our country and go refine in their country and then come tell us how much they found.
Mm.
If it's refined in Mali, Mali will be number 1.
Mm.
I guarantee you. And plus, the north of Mali, which I think 2/3 of the country is all desert.
Yeah.
Probably like a very small percentage of our population is there.
What's the name of the desert?
The Sahara.
The Sahara.
That's the place they call Sahel. The Sahel.
So the Sahara is in Mali.
Yeah, the Sahara. A part of Sahara is in Mali. A part of Sahara is in Mali. Algeria. Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mauritania.
Mm. So Mali is one of the borders.
Yeah, Mali is one, and we have a big chunk of Sahara. Like literally 2/3 of the country. The 2 biggest part. If you divided the country in 3, the greatest part that nobody's living on, uninhabited, is Sahara, is desert, and it's full of minerals, oil. I believe, and not that I believe, I read this and I believe it, that we have the world's largest reserve of oil, but unexploited, bigger than Saudi Arabia. So now you wonder why they create a little instability there just to control it. They don't like that.
And if it's my understanding that at one time in world history, the Sahara was not a desert. That it was a location that was green, but as time and the world changed, it turned into a desert. And Timbuktu is also in the north, isn't it?
Timbuktu is on the desert. Timbuktu is a part of Sahara. Right. It's Timbuktu, Kidal, and Gao, the 3 major parts of the country. That's like Timbuktu alone is bigger than France. And that's one of Mali's 8 regions.
And then there's the middle part of Mali.
Yeah,
what does that entail?
Well, the middle part of Mali is more like Segu, and Menaka. They also live off of the river. There are a lot of Bonsos there. There are a lot of Fulanis there that are nomads. The ones who actually live off of the cows. They will live off of farming, but more like nomad. That's the Fulani, and there are Fulanis everywhere in the world. Everywhere in Africa, there are Fulanis. I think they are probably the largest ethnicity. That's why every time they want to create some instability between two places, they somewhat involve the Fulanis in it. Fulanis exist all the way from East Africa, all the way to wherever you can think of in Africa. They are the nomads.
And then there's the capital is in the south.
Yes.
And
the capital is in south.
And talk a little bit about that, because in many cases, as we start to develop tours, we'll probably be in that area. So talk a little bit about that area.
The capital, especially when you guys come, you're going to be at the safest place, being guarded by the safest people. We're only going to be visiting the safest places that you can go to without thinking. People who don't even know there is anything going on in the surrounding area as far as instability. So when you guys visit in the capital city in Bamako, you're not even going to know about the propaganda and the things that they're talking about, because it's all I know about this. Unfortunately, there is some places that are unstable, but the people that are claiming to fight the people that are claiming to help the locals to fight, they are the ones funding the other side of the war, as it usually is. That's political. We're not gonna get to that, but you're gonna be safe when
And
you guys
tell us
come.
a little.
Anybody comes until everywhere becomes very safe. We're gonna be in Bamako. Americans, Europeans, people fly into Bamako every day, every morning, 2 to 3 times. Air France, El Senegal, all these countries fly to Bamako every day and fly out every day. And you're gonna be with one of those people. You're gonna be safe, and the hotels and places you're gonna be at you're gonna be living at with some of the pilots that are on those European airlines flying them at a very nice cost. When I say with the pilots, it's gonna be a very nice hotel, very nice hotels, but at a very affordable cost to you.
Now, tell us a little bit about some of the attractions there.
Well, the monuments all mean something. Within the capital city itself, there are a lot of things to see, and including within the capital city, God willing, this trip will be the first to go visit the tomb of the grandfather of Mansa Musa and Abubakar II, who was discovered America before Christopher Columbus, and who was the great grandfather of the Kitas, which my mother lineage come from, which I come from, and there is that alone. That's 5 trips you can know all about it. So Bamako within the surrounding of Bamako alone, we can do a whole trip for a year without having to leave Bamako twice every 2 months. You're not gonna know all about even that. There is a lot of stuff to talk about. There is a whole program that we have written that's not right in front of me right now. But what I can tell you about it right now is that it's gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be historical, and I hope after this trip, a lot of people would be lining up every 2 months to come.
And what about the nightlife? Do you have?
Oh, you're talking to the man of the nightlife. There was times, I would be home working, 2, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'll just leave and go out. Just to be somewhere where I can get a glass of something and listen to music. It doesn't sleep there. That's why when I came from Mali, came to New York, after 1 week of staying in New York, I was supposed to go to Baltimore in UMBC as a student. I went to Baltimore, coming from a city that never sleeps. Went to a place where it's a small county where everything's asleep. I had to come right back because I wasn't used to that. The nightlife is gorgeous. The club. Sometimes you leave the club while people are going to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. They close when the last person stop buying drinks. That may be 6 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning. The cops don't come knocking on the door at 4 o'clock in the morning. You gotta close like in New York City. No, the nightlife is beautiful, and me being a part of the nightlife, there are a lot of stuff lined up every evening or every night. We have evening events and night events. Days when there are no events at all, there's gonna be some day events too. I also, like I told you, I'm a jack of all trades. I also DJ as well. And some nights I'll be DJing myself, American old school nights. The night of my gala, towards the end of the festival, the night of my gala, after the gala ends, I will be actually hosting a night where I'll be DJing American old school nights. So as far as the nightlife, you cannot be, unless they try to go hang out somewhere else, which I'm not going to let them venture off if I don't know, where they're going, because I want to know wherever they go, nobody takes advantage of them. They are going to be safe physically, but somebody might try to take advantage of them because they're Americans if they don't be careful.
Like every place else.
Yeah.
What about the food?
The food is great. The food, I don't know. I mean, you being in Harlem, if you've been to Les Ambassades, if you've been to Baobab, if you've been to Kirsokna, if you've been to Kirkumba, if you've been to 116, 125 Street area African restaurants, the food is similar.
Okay.
Yes.
Similar to the Senegalese.
If you've been to a Senegalese restaurant, the food is similar. If you've been to that area, if you've been to any of those restaurants over there, even once, the food is similar.
Your clothing line, do you, where do you, what's your market? Who do you focus on?
The market is not for everybody. Not because of the price, because it's very flashy. As my personality, I'm a very flashy person by nature. So, like the way it's designed, you look at it, you're like, damn, how did you come up with that? It looks like nothing else. That's what it is. It's more like for celebrities, but I'm gonna try to find a way to make it for regular people. I do have some jackets that's for regular people who are not too flashy. But me in general, I like things that even if it's $2 worth, I want something that everybody doesn't have, basically. So some of them would have buttons made out of gold, so that it's not just clothes. You have something that's worth something. Instead of just wearing clothes, instead of just wearing gold, to flash or whatnot, I'll have it in the buttons. That's all I can say about it, because some of the things are not copywritten yet, and there's nothing like it.
Where do you manufacture your clothing?
Oh, made in Mali, made in Africa, all the way.
So all of your clothes
Yes, for now. But I have a brother here, Al Karim, who's a very good tailor. He lives also here in Harlem. He's a New Yorker as well. Al Karim is a very good tailor. He'll be working with me too.
Okay.
Even just today, he sent me a text message that a place in Ghana invited him to go do a fashion show there. I haven't read all the text message, but he's amazing too. I'll be working with him.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Al Karim, his company is called American Couture. Go check him out.
We have to look at that.
He's in Harlem too. Yes,
because there's Harlem Fashion Week. There are a lot of fashion. As of course, Harlem has been known for years as a mecca of fashion and style.
Yes.
So at some point, we have to connect you with some of the fashion people here to help promote some of the things that you do.
Absolutely. I will very much appreciate that, because even when I used to take the clothes of other people and alter, I used to take them and alter them. People used to be like, "Where do you get this? We don't see anybody dressed like this. Whenever you start your clothing line, I'll buy it." That's what motivated me, because people started to notice that it wasn't like nothing else. And places where I buy my clothes in general, when I wear them, I don't find them with anybody else. That's the place I like to shop at.
Now, do you participate in fashion shows at all?
Not yet, but this year I hope to participate with with Jasmine. I hope to this year.
Okay, so we have to. That's another thing that we can talk about. There are a number of whether it's Harlem Fashion Week or Harlem Week has a major fashion show. There are a number of opportunities. So maybe in 2024, that could be one of the goals that you look to, so that people can begin to see what you do.
Absolutely. I will very much appreciate that. Absolutely. Jasmine spoke to me about it, about a month or so ago. And you just repeating what she said. I really will very much appreciate that. Absolutely. I am your guy.
Now, how long is the flight from, let's say, JFK to Mali?
Well, I usually fly through France. It takes you about 8 hours to get there to France, and then another 5 hours to get to Mali.
Okay.
Yes. So if you get some nice wind tail coming from here to France, usually you might make it in 7.5.
All right. So there are no direct flights from JFK to Mali?
No. The most direct you may get would probably be to Senegal and then to Mali, or to yes, or to Ethiopia and then to Mali. But still, it's the closest one would be straight to Senegal and then to Mali, because Senegal to Mali is less than an hour about.
So if it's 7 hours to Senegal in the car, then you would get
Dakar,
a
Bamako is
flight
about an hour or a
from
little less.
Dakar to
Yeah, Dakar to Bamako is about an hour or a little less, depending on the wind tail. Yeah.
yes, that's not bad.
Yes, no, that's not bad. And I wanted to add something though. Going back to the going back to the festival and the gala. The festival is called "We Are All One," and the gala is within the festival. And within the gala, you know, there will be an auction of some jerseys of Lionel Messi, who just won the World Cup, and
Mhm.
then there's gonna be we're gonna ask a lot of people for donation, and that is to help philanthropy, sport, youth, and and especially orphans that have been affected by HIV/AIDS.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. And I am actually doing a food drive, clothing drive, toy drive. Anybody that knows anybody, you can email me or call me or send me a text. Clothes, shoes, toys, or whatever that you want to send to Africa to the um to kids that have been orphans, and that have been orphans, and they need help, and the toys, and that the toys mean a lot to them. The clothes and the shoes mean a lot to them, just to say that they came from America. And this is in sponsorship by Dr. Ishaka Mumin Kone, who's actually the executive, manager of the branch that's directly attached to the president's office in Mali. Anything that has anything to do with HIV/AIDS and urgent virus and disease, prevention, that's his office directly attached to the president's.
Mhm.
So we will have him there to welcome the people, and 3 or 4 other ministers will be there, God willing, to welcome the people coming. And this is going to be the first of its kind, but we hope to do this every 2 months. And the partnership actually with them, I need to mention a little something, if I may, about
Sure.
the partnership that they're doing. So basically, they want to, Mali wants to intensify HIV testing in order to get rid of the virus of HIV by 2030 in Mali. So
Mm.
the objective is to screen 95% of the population by 2026, put HIV positive people on the ARV treatment, which, if most people don't know, that's a treatment where you can have HIV that you don't get cured, but you treat it to the point where the virus doesn't even show in your test any longer.
Mhm.
Basically, and Mali wants to end discrimination and stigmatization of people living with HIV. Oh Lord, people who live with HIV, you probably won't even find. Most people won't even shake your hands because they don't know. We are trying to do a big campaign, a national campaign of screening in all the regions in Mali in order to actually,
Educate.
educate people, to let them know that you can only find HIV through certain means, by shaking somebody or by saliva, unless they have a cut in their mouth. By educating them, I am being helped very much so by the office of Dr. Mumin, Dr. Ishaka Mumin Kone, and his partner, Dr. Dantuma Koita, which is the gentleman that we had the meeting with last Friday.
Mhm.
Exactly. He's his agent of finance, and that's his partner too. He's a friend of mine from childhood for over 30 years. So basically, Mali wants to offer nutritional, clothing, and educational support to children orphaned by HIV/AIDS.
Mm.
So yes, and they are my main sponsor right now. And so the part of this event is being sponsored by the government.
Well, that's
So it's gonna
interesting.
be a national. It's gonna be a national event. It's gonna be a state affair.
Mhm. And who who's the president of Mali or the
Assimi, Assimi Goita.
okay
Yeah, as in
and
your Colonel Son Excellence Assimi Goita. Yes, sir.
uh-huh. And what's the is tourism one of the major, especially in the southern part? Is that one of the major uh,
Well, tourism,
industries?
we're gonna be visiting, you know, uh, the Institute of Art, the National Institute of Art. We're gonna be visiting, workshops of handcrafts. We're gonna be visiting uh, you know the School of Art or School of All Arts, like Le Conservatoire. We're
Mhm.
gonna be visiting a lot of stuff. Tourism absolutely is when you go see, even within the shops, even within the market itself, you have people just sitting there that speak some English, that speak some English. Some of them speak a lot of good English.
Mhm.
They once they see a foreigner actually walking around, they will walk up to you and try to offer you tour. So yes, absolutely. To answer your question, tourism is a big part of the living. Is a big part of living in Mali. Period. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
if you're north, central, or south.
Do you have products that you export to the Americas?
Oh yeah, masks. Masks. The Malian masks and artifacts and the jewelries, and some of them I'm wearing right now. This
Mhm.
one, this one, and this is Chinese jade. Yes, but yeah, the one of the reasons why this trip is very important is I actually jot down some stuff. One of the reasons why this trip is important is that first of all, first of all, you learn about the African culture, the people in general, and you learn a part of the world that is greatly affect that is great that's greatly affected the history of Africa and the history of mankind in general.
Mm.
Some people may use this channel to also conduct business either officially or else, make friends, invest, and buy lands and or properties, or
Mm.
to buy jewelries, artifacts to come sell them here, or to just find a channel to do business back and forth. Boost your career and professional network, or to just use it as personal development for leisure and fun, basically.
I know that Ghana and now Senegal is beginning to do this, but what about the purchase of land for people from, let's say, African diaspora from Americas? Is
Every
that
time I get
difficult?
no, every time I get my hand, every time it's possible for me, I try to put my hand on some lands, because you never know your land. Mali is very rich in all the natural resources that people are: lithium, uranium, copper, iron, hydrogen, gold, oil, nitrogen. All these you can find them in Mali by abundance.
Mm.
So you never know if one of your lands a shortcut. I'm trying to look for a shortcut, brother. You never know if one of those lands that you buy end up being rich and you rich for life. So basically, besides that too, 1 hectare over there, 1 hectare is about, I think, twice the size as an acre.
Mhm.
With $2,000 you can find some places, depending on the places. Some places you can find half an acre, half a hectare. Some places you can find 10 hectares. Some places you can find 2 hectares. It depends on how far you are to the city. Some
Mhm.
places you might buy land because you're a foreigner. Americans, they love Americans over here. They love foreigners over here. You buy a land of that's worth 1 hectare. The chief of village might give you two more or three more.
Mm. Mm.
The way they welcome, they love people. They say southern hospitality. Come try Malian hospitality. I promise you, you might want to make your vacation home or one of your vacation homes. I promise you. I'm not trying to sell my country. I know what it is. When people are from when people are from overseas, we have a proverb that says, anybody who leaves their house to come to yours, you should treat them like king and queens. Because they
Mm.
could have stayed at there, but they chose to be at yours.
Well, Dennis, I appreciate one having the opportunity to meet you. Look forward to having the opportunity to work with you to allow for more uh, African and Caribbean Americans in particular, but people in general to have a better understanding of the advantage of traveling to Mali. I know uh, between Jasmine and Soul City, you'll be working on a kind of a exploratory event sometimes in July, I believe, and then we'll start working on a larger trip. But for those listeners, uh, we'll start putting things on our website, goharlem.org, about Mali, about travel to Mali, and that's something that we would like to make sure that we work with you in order to not only allow for people to understand Mali, but also for people to from Mali to, like yourself, feel comfortable uh, coming to Harlem. We have a new hotel that's coming up. Actually, there will be in 2024 about 3 hotels in Harlem. So the whole cultural exchange is very important because just like the colonizers separated Africa, there's still this concept of Africans from people who are in America and from people in America, the concept, or people in Africa, the concept of Americans, which is based on what they read and what they see. And most of that information is not true. So it's important to actually be there, to meet people like yourself, to be able to explore your heritage, your culture, which makes you stronger. And that's we want to bring these continents, these countries together again, because that's where, as we move into the future, younger people like yourself being able to be bi-coastal, to be able to understand the different cultures and bringing that back is very important. And I would like to thank you for taking time to be on the Soul City Show.
Uh-huh.
I appreciate the knowledge that you bring. And before we sign off, are there any last words or shout outs that you might want to
Any
give?
last word or shout out? Honestly, I like to shout out, my sponsor, my number one sponsor at the moment, who is Dr. Ishaka, Dr. Ishaka Mumin Kone,
Mhm.
from the executive department of the president of my country that oversees HIV/AIDS and urgent disease and viruses. That's helping me a lot with this travel, as far as security, as far as a lot of stuff to make it easier for you guys to so that this trip would be one of a kind and it'll be encouraging other people to come thereafter every 2 months or at least. And I like to shout out, my friend is agent of finance, Dr. Dantuma Koita, whom you had the pleasure to meet last Friday
Mhm.
at a meeting. And I like to I like to shout out everybody that's helped me along the way. My mother, my father, God, everybody that's helped me along the way to make me become this man that I am today, including you, Soul City, and including Harlem Tourism Board and everybody else. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all. Like I said, I'm a child of the universe. I belong to all children.
Well, again, we appreciate you. I'm sure that we'll be talking more about the things that we can do together. It's very important to begin to awaken the sleeping giant, which is the African diaspora, because we
Let
all
us
all
make
over the
history.
place.
Let us make history. Let us be a part of history. I always used to say that I would write at least one book when I was in elementary school or probably kindergarten, I think, so that the world could not forget about me. That's before I even knew about all my history, that I came from royalty or this and that and third. I have to make my own history myself. Let's make history together, my brother.
Well, now that you're on the Soul City recording, people will know about you long after we're not around. So that's one important thing. And
Yes,
thanks to Soul City, we can begin to change our narrative. But
yes,
Mali is a place that we will start to promote
yes.
as a preferred
Oh,
destination.
oh. I like to shout out, one of my artists, MT Motherland Boy. We
Mm,
actually made a music album together. He's an artist. He's a rapper. Born in France, raised in Mali, and then partially raised in ATL. We
mm,
actually made a music album together called The Ambassador's Bridge, where
mm.
we made music. He came here when he was 16, 17. Basically, he's American and African and French.
Mm.
So you can't get any better than that. So we actually made a music album like some 4 or 5 years ago called The Ambassador's Bridge. Hopefully, he'll be a part of it because he'll be in Africa during the time of my festival. I like
Well,
to shout him out. MT Motherland Boy, what it do?
well, thank you so much,
Uh-huh.
Dimas. We appreciate you. We'll be
Uh-huh.
back.
Uh-huh.
And that ends our show for today. We hope that you are interested. We have to get more information about Mali so that we can put it on our goharlem.org site.
I'd like to add one thing. If people call me, because I'm a New Yorker. I live
Mhm.
here in New York, but I did get this number when I went to. It's a long story. When they call me, they should also text me if I don't reply because a lot of spam calls call me on this number because it's a what you call it it's a phone number from Cleveland. Please, if they call me and I don't pick up, send me a
It's
text
5
message or
o'clock.
email.
Okay, well, when you call, make sure that you say that you saw Dimas on the Soul City television show, the
Yes.
broadcast network. So thank you, my brother.
Thank you, my
Look
brother.
forward to
It's
working
my
with
pleasure.
you,
It's my pleasure.
and we'll be talking soon.
May God be with us. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
It's
And
a
shout out to the people on the back end, making sure this whole thing is happening. Shout out, Matt.
yes.
Appreciate you.
Well, yes, Matt and Jasmine
Matt and Jasmine, Oh,
are,
Jazzy's there too.
part
Shout
of
out.
that crew. So again, thank you, my brother.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
And
Appreciate
this brings our show to end this week. Again, Mali, please kind of put that into your mindset. We'll start posting information on our goharlem.org site about Mali. And hopefully you can join us as we start to look at exploring various countries in Africa. So again, this is Tony Rogers, your host for Urbanology, the Art of War. Thanking you for taking time to watch us. This show will also be on the Soul City Facebook page as well as the HTB Harlem Facebook page if you want to see it again. Thank you. And thanks again to Matt McCoy and Jasmine and the Soul City crew for providing this platform. And hopefully you have the rest of the week in to rest and be in peace. Take care. Bye.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Urbanology.